Best squad in the league?
Potentially, yes. But we've been seeing that for the last couple of seasons, especially given the kind of spending that we've seen City do over the last few off-seasons. But that kind of peers into nothing. If for me, and my big issue, I keep saying this about City, and the Kyle Walker thing, like, if we try to disregard the price tag in essence, they needed a right back, okay? That's a given. He's English. City needed to continue to bring in these homegrown players. He's international. He comes with some experience. But for me, under Pep, we saw the same problems in Manchester City as we'd seen previously with the likes of Barcelona. No plan B. And as much as you hear Vincent Kompany talking about a style and this is what we're trying to do, I still feel that they don't adapt when things aren't going their way well enough. So never mind the money, never mind the squad, unless Pep is able, I feel, to adapt better to the demands of the Premier League, I'm not sure.
I think they do have ways to adapt, Xhaka. I just don't think that last year he found them, or they were the ways of adapting that people wanted them to, i.e. bring on a big lad and, hit it to him. To me, the real issue with this is that what Pep demands of his players is very complicated, and it's difficult to understand, and it's sometimes counterintuitive. And I think it takes a while to go and instill that in the team.
But the team got worse. That was the problem with City, wasn't it?
But at the beginning, they're running on adrenaline, but they weren't necessarily playing what the football Pep was hoping to implement.
I remember the Manchester derby, they were superb. They were playing great football, and you thought, right, this is it. This has set the standard. City are going to run away with this league.
But Xhaka was talking about plan B, right? So when they're doing great, they don't need a plan B.
No, but here's to my point, Gab. And let's use the Spurs game as an example. No, yeah. I understand. Pep Guardiola wants this total football, and some of his press conferences and some of his mutterings just seem to confuse the situation a whole lot more. I don't do tackling, and I don't know what to make of all that. But Spurs recognize that City want to pass the ball out to the back every single time, starting with the goalkeeper. So they press very high up. They have a younger squad. They press high up, play a lot higher energy. And City at no point in that game changed. They continued to ask Bravo to pass out to the back and pass to the wing backs or the centre forwards. At no point did anybody ever think, well, let me just clip it into a midfielder and see how Spurs react. At no point did anybody say, let me just go even longer than that and see, just to change things up, even if during a game, and I'm talking about the last 10 minutes, and lump it upfield to your centre back comes centre forward.
Yeah. But I think the maturity to make those decisions, take responsibility for sort of, calling an audible, so to speak, on the field, I think that comes with seniority. That comes once they're more comfortable in the system. Don't forget, too, that I think everything this year for Pep was made worse by some of the poor decisions that they made with the goalkeeping situation, making the change late on, not enough cover at centre back, which, by the way, might be a problem again this season. We hope Kompany's fit all year, but we don't know. I think all of this made Pep's job more difficult. I think with a year under his belt, I think they can be better. What I would disagree with is what you said, that this is the best squad in the Premier League. I'm not buying that at all, because
so who's the best squad?
It's not these guys. Not when we don't know if Gundogan can play. Not when we don't know if Ederson can start. Nobody in England seemed to like Bravo last year. If they add Mundy, maybe down the left, that's going to be a big plus. But he still needs to settle. Kyle Walker on the right is going to be very different from what we thought he had in mind with Dani Alves. They're also pursuing Danilo, and I think that's close if they get that done. They have a guy who can do things differently, but if he does them the way he did them at Real Madrid, he's not going to do them very well. So I think they're still, in terms of squad construction, I don't think that they've got all the answers.
What we saw from City, certainly in the mid part of the season, was the fact that they'd go to some of these weaker sides, and you'd expect them to win comfortably, but they never seem to get going. They're always almost this kind of blasé kind of attitude going into matches, and you're not buying this, Gab?
He still created more than enough chances to score in
those
games.
And after those results, are they losing any sleep? Do you know what I mean? There doesn't seem to be that sort of passion for the side.
This is where you get into the whole body language debate, and like pundits, usually ex-English players, sitting there and guessing what these people are thinking and why don't they care about the show. I don't get involved in that. I leave it to you guys. I don't. This idea that we from afar start arguing that these players don't care enough or they're not motivated enough. Come on now.
At times, I don't think City and I think body language, I think there is something to be said there. But I just, at no point do they press the panic button or the I'm desperate to score here button. And this, we created chances. That's a stat I think that largely is empty. And if you create these stats, I find that an empty stat that you fall back on when you can't figure out exactly what's going on or how to right the ship.
Gabriel Jesus, of course, stormed into the scene at the start of the calendar year, picked up that injury, came back, scored late on. He could be a real superstar, couldn't he?
He can. I think we need to remind ourselves that he's still very young. So if at some point he feels like he's not progressing, I think we can, that's kind of par for the course for him. That's going to be a big one this year because, how does the dynamic with Aguero work?
Who starts at the moment?
That's a huge call. I honestly don't know. I need to see more of them. If we assume that David Silva will be there in the line of three and Kevin De Bruyne will be there in the line of three, those last two spots, center forward and the left side, or the other wing rather. You've got Sterling, you've got Sané, you've got Bernardo Silva, you've got Gabriel Jesus, you've got Aguero. 5 superstars for two positions.
Superstars.
Yeah.
I'm making my statement right there.